Marvel's Avengers game is officially out in the wild, telling a charming story about Kamala Khan and her journey from Avengers fangirl to legit superhero. Now that we've played Marvel's Avengers from beginning to end, here are some of the key takeaways. The Avengers are the quintessential example of how very different people can come together and rally around a cause. Iron Man is a tech genius whose superpower is his brain and the things he can create. Thor is an actual god from another world. Captain America is a super soldier created by the government. The Hulk is a scientist turned giant monster, depending on his mood. And Black Widow is a former spy who, like Iron Man, has no superpowers herself, but uses her skills in espionage and combat to contribute all the same. Throughout the Marvel's Avengers story, Crystal Dynamics really hammers home just how different the main characters are, and how they still manage to unite in times of crisis. The treatment Inhumans receive in the game further explores this lesson. Inhumans are typical people who are in the wrong place at the wrong time on A-Day. The accident that took place granted them superpowers, and for that they're scapegoated by AIM and ostracized by others. But as Kamala Khan so beautifully demonstrates, they're still valuable people who play important roles in society, no matter what the bad guys say. Aside from Kamala Khan, two other characters really get their time to shine in Marvel's Avengers: Tony Stark and Bruce Banner. Both walked away from A-Day without hope and spent their days in solitude until Kamala came along. Following A-Day, Bruce spent a great deal of time as the Hulk hiding in the Chimera. The Avengers then broken down helicarrier, while the world outside changed drastically. Similarly, Stark isolated himself in the desert and seemed content to live a reality where the Avengers were gone forever. Kamala brought the two back from the brink. She managed to convince Banner there was something worth fighting for, and that he could embrace the Hulk once more to do it. And she got Tony, ever the narcissist, to return and not only be a team player, but even show some emotion at times. The story in Marvel's Avengers just wouldn't work without Kamala. She gets the band back together and ends up saving the day for everyone else too. Another big story element revolves unsurprisingly around Kamala and her place in the world. As a Pakistani-American girl from Jersey City, Khan already felt like an outsider of sorts. Add in her love of comics and her adoration of the Avengers, and you can start to see why she might have felt like she was different than everyone else. Being present on A-Day and becoming an Inhuman as a result only exacerbated her feeling of being an outcast. For a long time, she had to hide who she was and the powers she possessed. But upon meeting the Avengers, she found purpose and a sense of belonging. Kamala no longer had to keep her powers a secret or keep her childhood dream of being a superhero limited to the posters on her bedroom wall. With the Avengers, she found a group of individuals committed to doing good, just like her. With the encouragement of her newfound friends, she's finally able to come into her own and sort out her identity. For a campaign story about a group of heroes, the narrative really only gives you a close look at three of them: Kamala Khan, Bruce Banner, and Tony Stark. Kamala is by far the most fleshed out character in the tale, but Banner and Stark get a large share of her focus as well. Unfortunately, not all of the Avengers receive the same amount of love, which could make them harder to connect with. Black Widow re-emerges partway through the campaign, suddenly showing up to offer assistance when AIM captures Kamala. The same goes for Thor, who is present for a stretch while the group fends off an attack on the Chimera, only to disappear until the later parts of the game. Captain America too takes a back seat, an understandable choice as he seems to die at the very beginning. Captain America, Thor, and Black Widow, by virtue of being brought into the fold later, don't get as much screen time as Kamala, Bruce, and Tony. Some may feel that character development suffers as a result. Maybe in another adventure to come they'll be more foregrounded. We know we'd like to see them in action a little bit more. This twist may shock you, but here it goes. Captain America didn't actually die in Marvel's Avengers.
You're alive. I knew it.
Sure, the developers made it look that way at the very beginning, and that early story beat, which was revealed to help promote the game about a year before its release, concerned some Cap fans. But Crystal Dynamics wouldn't go through all the trouble of creating Captain America just to kill him off, right? As it turns out, the A-Day explosion that had reportedly killed Cap failed to do the job. Instead, AIM captured Captain America and kept him prisoner in an outer space satellite laboratory called Ambrosia. There, AIM scientist and wannabe diabolical villain Monica Rappaccini used Captain America's blood to conduct experiments. Iron Man eventually showed up to rescue Cap from AIM's clutches, thus allowing him to become a playable character again during the back half of the game. In the aftermath of A-Day, George Talton, one of the minds behind the new energy form Terrigen, decided superheroes should no longer exist. Talton felt their powers could not be controlled, and in AIM, he saw a vehicle for delivering a cure to Inhumans that would strip them of their newfound abilities.
Come on, Kamala. Let's do this. Yes? Let AIM help you.
When a cure didn't pan out, he turned to more drastic measures, killing off Inhumans entirely. When the Avengers reassembled to stand in his way, he became MODOK, or the mental, mobile, mechanized organism designed only for killing. At the end of Marvel's Avengers, MODOK is seemingly defeated at the hands of an embiggened Kamala Khan. But don't assume you've seen the last of Tolton's new form just yet. During the game's credits, a scene shows a small door on MODOK's giant statue-esque robot opening up. Based on a small pod that shoots out of it like a missile, it seems MODOK may not be done causing problems for the Avengers just yet. It's not an exaggeration to say both the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. were crippled after the events of A-Day. The Avengers believed they'd lost a key member and disbanded entirely, scattering to the wind. Fortunately, actions taken during Marvel's Avengers helped bring both groups back together again. Kamala Khan, of course, helped reunite the Avengers. In the early part of the story, Kamala and Bruce Banner locate a S.H.I.E.L.D. bunker containing protocols left by Director Fury in the event of his demise. These protocols are sent to Sub-Director Maria Hill. At the end of the campaign, post-credits, Hill informs the group that S.H.I.E.L.D. is still getting back on its feet and offers the Avengers some field op assignments to help the cause. Some of these field ops can be taken on in Marvel's Avengers Endgame, and there's a chance you might see additional assignments added in future content drops. Though you may think the Avengers saved the day and thus subdue some goodwill from the world at large, it doesn't appear that will be the case at first. As Stark mentions in a post-credit sequence, AIM still has the government on its side, as well as public opinion. How is that possible when, during the game, AIM forces are at a standoff with the military? That is a great question, but as it stands, the Avengers are still the bad guys in the eyes of many, and they'll have to do some work to get everyone feeling happy to see them in action again. The Avengers redemption arc could continue in further story packs released down the line, or it could be implied over time that, by battling AIM and further uncovering its secrets, you'll eventually reach a point where the Avengers are considered heroes again. You'll have to wait to see how Crystal Dynamics plans to address this story element, and what new threats might emerge if the Avengers are able to take out AIM for good. Monica Rappaccini's story in Marvel's Avengers is full of twists and turns. At the start, she appears to be Banner's love interest, a fellow scientist assisting work on the Terrigen project. After A-Day, she presents herself as a key figure at AIM, but she is purportedly working to develop a cure for Inhumans. You eventually discover Rappaccini does not have pure motivations. In fact, she wasn't even developing a cure. Rappaccini wants to harvest Inhuman powers for her own twisted pursuits. She even went so far as to experiment on Tolton himself without him realizing it. Tolton eventually caught on though, and injected Rappaccini with the same Captain America blood he'd been given repeatedly before leaving Rappaccini to die. Rappaccini does not die, however. In fact, the end of Marvel's Avengers reveals her elevation to the role of Scientist Supreme at AIM. She has even bigger plans for the organization now that Tolton is apparently out of the picture, including cloning, time travel, and more. Marvel's Avengers players will undoubtedly see more of Monica Rappaccini in the future, as AIM, especially with her in charge, is still a very big threat. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite movies, TV shows, and video games are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.